Path of Night, Brine and Blood is an actual play Hunter the Reckoning podcast set in the world of darkness. We're all friends. We're here to have fun. But our story can include graphic violence, drug use, sexual content, and other mature themes. Content warnings can be found in the show notes. We talk at our table about safety, comfort, and consent, both as players and storytellers. We know what to expect. We're all excited to be here, and we want you to feel the same. So listener discretion is advised. Now let's take back the night.
And when they bombed other people's houses, we protested, but not enough. We opposed them, but not enough. I was in my bed. Around my bed, America was falling, invisible house by invisible house by invisible house. I took a chair outside and watched the sun. In the 6th month of a disastrous reign in the house of money, in the street of money, in the city of money, in the country of money, our great country of money, we, forgive us, lived happily during the war. We Lived Happily During the War by Ilya Kaminsky. Last time on Brine and Blood. The full circle of hunters met and discussed the aftermath of Griggs's execution, and began putting together the pieces of the conspiracy surrounding Endron, Texas Tower 2, and the unknown threat of tentacled horrors and body snatchers. While Dallas rested, the others began their research, learning a number of disturbing facts. People in their lives acting strangely, the depths of Endron's roots in the community, and the fact that Texas Tower 2 went much, much deeper into the ocean than seems geographically possible. While the others waited outside, Dallas and Nat entered Endron's Brayton Point power station for Dallas's job interview. There, Nat began flirting with the beautiful receptionist, who unknown to her was a tainted, inhuman creature. Unable to warn her in time, Dallas overheard part of an internal argument between local Endron executive Mr. Saunders and a new man who set his hackles on end, underwater drilling consultant Mr. Klieg. Todd, Pheia, the two of you are sitting in a Dunkin' Donuts that's about half a mile away from the power plant where Dallas is having his interview. You know that Nat and John are with him. The Dunkin' that you're sitting in is recently reopened. It looks like there's cardboard where some of the glass should be, a little bit of police tape left that hasn't been cleaned up yet, but they are open for business. Looks like something fucking nasty happened here. But there is a sort of shell-shocked worker behind the counter taking care of the drive-thru, and you two are the only ones who seem to be lingering, hanging out. There's not a lot of seating in here, but there's the stools by the bench by the front window, or what's remains of the front window. The cardboard has been taken down to let some light in. You sip your coffees and wait any word on if your presence is going to be needed.
Pheia's current t-shirt is one that reads, "Big dick energy leads to big dick injury." And she's wearing a sweater that covers most of it because she's out and about, but that looks handmade in pink, purple, and blue. And she just gets a small coffee, black.
Todd's wearing a pair of jeans, an untucked button-down shirt that's underneath those sleeveless sweater vests. He's kind of relaxing, or at least trying to give the impression to the world around him that he's relaxing. In reality, he is watching the area like a hawk, and seems to look over and is like, man, I do not remember when D&D was such a war zone. It's like everyone you go to.
I don't know. I feel like Y2K is just getting people fucked up.
Do you believe in that, Y2K?
No, not really. There's enough weirdness coming out that if the computers go nuts, sure, there's...
It's just one more thing.
I see vampires now, man.
Yeah, I mean, when you put it like that. How did you get into all of this in the first place, anyways? We all kind of have a story that brings us into it. The day you couldn't look away.
I was at work. I usually am. There was a school group, elementary schools, and I was working in the Smith shop. There was just this one kid that she would not come in. Would not come into this place. So I go out. I forge a hook. Hooks are easy. They're a dime a dozen. They're the first thing we learn how to make. We can usually give them away to special guests because you can churn them out in about 10 minutes. And it makes a cool story for someone. And you talk about, the type of coal that was used. You talk about the history of harpoon forging. The different types of the ends that were forged. The competitions that blacksmiths would make of how many nails they could churn out in a minute. For me specifically, I liked to talk about, because there's always people who will be like, hey, you're a woman, you don't have a place at the blacksmith forge. That's not historically accurate. You can always fire back, and you don't call them motherfuckers, but there's that subtext there always. And you say, who do you think manned the forges when Daddy and the boys went to war? Or only had daughters? Who do you think took up the trade? So there's always stories to tell.
Got it.
So I went out and talked to this little girl. She started telling me that a long time ago, she saw someone die by the iron. And I figured this is just like a kid who's dealing with something. But it wasn't just a kid dealing with something. She tried to pull my shirt off because it had iron filings on it. She tried to set it on fire with nothing. She didn't have matches or anything like that. And then as I'm trying to just remind her, hey, I'm not here to hurt you. I'm not going to hurt you. The iron's not going to hurt you. I see that she's not just a little girl. She's this giant blue monster superimposed with this little girl. And I look at her eyes, but at the same time I'm holding the gaze of this giant blue creature who is looking at me like I'm the one that's scary. The teacher, I guess, was used to this little girl freaking out about weird things, finding her... she would make promises and then panic if she thought she wasn't going to be able to keep them. She took pinky promises very seriously. She was getting in trouble for breaking kids' pinkies. And it's not as dramatic as a lot of people's introduction, but this little girl was so afraid because this creature inside her was so afraid. And some of these things are they're scared too. They're afraid to die too. I'm afraid to die. I'm just trying not to lose my home. They're afflicted with a chronic illness like I am.
It's not the same.
It's enough to invoke the empathy, though. And it's not the same for every creature type. The rots, I get. There's not much you can do about the rots.
Well, I hate to say it, but even in your example, who's sticking up for those kids who are getting their fingers broken? They might be in a bad situation, but they shouldn't be around those kids.
They shouldn't be breaking other kids' fingers. Those kids need help, too. I'm 100% behind you on that one.
That's just... I don't know, maybe it's just the way It's just the way I think, but... For me, whether a monster's good, bad, somewhere in between, there's a line at hurting people.
Absolutely, man. I'm not saying that...
Well, what became of the kid? What happened? If you don't mind my asking.
I tried to help. I got the list of the schools. I got the list of the classes that had been in for a field trip that day. So I called and said, hey, would it be okay if I just came in and gave a demonstration? And I came in and I gave each of the kids a piece of iron to take home. I put it in their backpacks for them. They were out at recess after the demonstration. And then the little girl didn't come to school. They couldn't figure out why she was sick. But when she came back, she didn't break pinkies anymore. And I don't feel good about it. Because what's there to feel good about when you end something?
Yeah. I tend to think that if you're choosing violence or ending something like that, if you're happy with the occasion, you're doing it for the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
Well, he kind of finishes his cup of coffee. I'm gonna get another one of these things. How do you think they're doing out there? As he gets up and heads for the counter.
I think you're trying to distract me from asking what your story is.
No. Do you want a coffee? He points at the menu.
Short answer, yes. Long answer, but I want to hear how you got into this too.
Yeah. Stereotypical. He gets a couple coffees.
There's no such thing.
Oh, yeah, there is. There was a very nice woman. Had a kid. Very nice kid. Good kid. Bad choices in terms of the man that was in their household. Once the coffees are ready, he heads over, sits down, slides one across the little two-person table that they're sitting at. The guy was very, very volatile. But I think he enjoyed it. He embraced whatever pain it was that drove him to do the things that he did. And he and I never got along, and eventually things escalated to a point where some of his truths became revealed in the way that he was hurting people. He kind of slides up his sleeve just enough to show this damage that's long since healed but left some pretty gnarly scarring. He, not unlike the kid you described, he could control fire. And the sight came to me, and it showed me that this man was some primordial evil, something that had come and taken the body of an already heartless man. And whatever traumas it had experienced, it was all too pleased to take out on the girl and her mom.
Was it like an elemental or something, or?
According to Hunternet, it's called, they call it some kind of demon.
Okay.
Like weird, biblical, arrogant, monstrous demon. It crawled out of wherever it was, hell, if you're to believe that kind of thing. Climbed into the body of some weak-willed sinner douchebag and wrote it, and I intervened.
She's kind of staring at the burn. She's not staring holy shit, that's cool looking. But she kind of looks at it not admiringly, but she appreciates the weight of how it was earned.
I wasn't really a fighter type, but I had to fight in that situation. Someone did, and ever since then, I've tried to be as good at this as I can while maintaining some sense of normalcy. The others, like us, that I've met, sometimes they try to hide from this being chosen the way that we are, and bad things find them. There's no hiding from it. Others will turn their backs on their day-to-day lives altogether and just live for the hunt. And them, they're not the people you want around. So I've been doing this in some attempt to have some sort of balance. But if I'm going to be honest with you, it's not going great. This whole weird sea corruption threat thing that's going around. My car's gone. I almost died in the hospital. The people that I was working with, one of them a kid. I think body snatchers got them. It's just one thing after another. So it started rough, and I guess it's going pretty rough.
So I don't know what your background is education-wise. I have 3 bachelor's degrees in history, anthropology, and sociology. I have 2 masters in folklore and oral history and medical anthropology. And what I have learned from all of these, they're doing great, by the way. They've made me a lot of money and very financially well off and successful, as you can tell. But what I can tell you is that what looks like one thing to one people in one time, the truth may be something completely different, or it may just look like something completely different to someone else. And I'm sure that plays into why I do what I do in the scheme of what we do. Like, there was someone with a seizure disorder in one part of the world is a prophet who speaks to the gods. And in this country, they're desperately ill, and the treatment is just as likely to kill them as just letting it run its course. It's a death sentence somewhere, and it's a badge of honor somewhere else. I mean, sometimes they're cut and dry. Your guy was obviously a shitheel.
Douchebag.
Yeah. Big dick energy, big dick injury.
What?
She kind of opens her sweater to show her shirt.
That did not improve my understanding of what the hell you just said.
As the laughter sort of breaks the tension of the conversation, you guys are just passing time talking. There are some like newspapers and stuff in here just talking about attacks on the East Coast. Things that seem like tragedies to others, but the two of you, as imbued, recognize as maybe parts of a larger pattern going on in the world. There's also, the entertainment news is like a word jumble. Mm-hmm. There's a weekly weird news magazine that, Todd, you are all too familiar with.
Oh no, my nemesis.
Do you say that out loud?
Yes.
Looking over the front cover real quick, there is thankfully no mention of any of you or any weird escapades on the front.
Okay.
Currently.
Why is like the Bat Boy found locked in a cave for 10 years your nemesis?
99.9% of the time these things just spew garbage to people who just want to believe in something. But there's a rest of the time.
Mm-hmm.
And the rest of the time, they're taking pictures of me walking my dog.
Why?
Well, apparently, wink, wink, I've got weird secrets.
Awkward.
As you guys are talking about maybe a little bit more of the lighthearted side, maybe not for Todd, but in general.
I try to make light of my stalker issue.
You see 2 people walk up the street and in front, like right in front of the Dunkin' Donuts, and they're very easy to see and hear because the window's broken. One is like 7 feet tall, just a huge dude, completely hairless, like no hair on his head, no eyebrows. His eyes are a little too wide set apart. His mouth is a little too big. It looks almost like a child's drawing of a human being. It's ridiculous. And then next to him is like a woman who's like 5'4", also looks off, but much harder to place why she looks off. The dude is wearing a pair of jeans that don't fit him and no shirt or shoes. It is the summer, but still.
Most people want their pants to button.
And she appears to be wearing all Red Sox gear. Like someone knocked over a novelty store with a bunch of Red Sox stuff. And they are walking awkwardly. Like, she seems to be walking okay. The guy lumbers, both because of his size and also because he looks uncertain about how to walk. And he stops in front of the store. You see his nostrils flare, and he looks down at her, and she looks back up at him, and he shakes his head, and she goes, "Then why all the blood scent? It's not okay. But don't worry. We'll find him somewhere. The Longfins can't have taken him. He's too strong for that." And then they just continue walking.
I will look at you and I say, have you ever seen The Terminator?
Yes.
I raise my cup of coffee towards the two of them, like, hey, go Yanks.
He looks at you totally uncomprehendingly, like he does not speak English. She looks at you and goes, "Go Yanks." And then walks, and they continue walking.
All right.
So-
and I turn to you and I go,
That's fucked up.
that's fucked up.
We should probably do something about that. Or do we stay here and finish the mission and just take notes?
Well, the mission is to, I don't know if avoiding trouble was specifically discussed.
It was not.
So I'm going to snoop.
I will support your snooping. Rob, also,
Yeah.
Pheia has her medical kit with her, which includes fresh skin of tilapia.
So you could just be making shit. I know so little about.
It is written
I
down.
know it's all right. Yes.
Well,
okay.
Erika,
It is to treat burns.
there we
Sure.
go.
She is bringing it home from work to prep to
I
treat
got you.
burns.
That's fine. I trust you. I guess.
Fucking chaos goblin.
Yes, I am aware of who I am,
One of
Garrett.
these days, Erika's.
Skin in my pockets.
One of these days, Erika's gonna play a fucking straight man, and we're not gonna know what
You're
to do.
not going to be ready for it.
Wait, Erika, can I see this list?
Yeah.
I just want to know what you smell like.
Yeah, do you stink all the time? I need to know this.
Honestly?
On a game that
I
has
do
a bunch
too.
of scent-based guys.
90s crunchy.
Oh God, you do. You smell
stinks.
so bad.
No. So, first of all, she carries a lot
Julian
of...
ham.
Patchouli and fish, thank you. It's worse. Okay.
I'm gonna throw up. All right. What?
So, cod and tilapia skin, thank you.
Sorry,
Do you have that written down for real?
Yes. Cod skin.
What the fuck?
Erika, I'm running a weird fishman game, and you're the craziest part of today.
Echinacea, golden seal, and chaparral paste.
Sure, sure.
God.
White oak, aloe, calendula, and echinacea paste.
Sure.
Sure.
Plantain, mustard seed, mullein, and lobelia.
Sounds
Okay,
delicious.
Ginseng, rhodelia, damiana, and coffee, which is an anti-shock treatment. Meadowsweet, yarrow, black cohosh, and St. John's wort, which is an analgesic topically.
Bro, how many pockets you got?
I think these are.
She is a bisexual. She is wearing cargo pants.
These are also mixes.
Yep.
So,
Oh, gotcha.
I was gonna say like
so they're making.
Yeah, no, they're tinctures and all.
Yeah.
Echinacea, charcoal, yarrow, and black walnut to draw out toxins. Homemade chitin bandages, so there's crabs in the mix.
This is going to turn into a chase scene. I should have brought jorts.
hey man, jeans can become jorts if you're determined enough.
A travel kettle and like an intermediate basic first
Wait,
aid
hold
kit.
up. Did you say a travel kettle?
Yes.
How big is that? You just
it
walk around
folds-
with a fucking kettle?
No, it folds. It folds down to be
How's a
about
kettle
this wide.
fold? How does that
it's
work?
silicone.
Okay.
I love that this is a real thing, and you're like, no.
But is it a real thing in the 90s?
Yes.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a camping.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I did a lot of camp. I did all my camping in the 90s, and I've never fucking heard of it.
All right, hold on.
Camping person.
You
do
know,
I have
I
for
get it.
gear?
All right.
Yep. But yes.
Tim's gonna walk out here and be like, I have 37 shotguns. And I'm like, that makes sense. I get that.
I have camping gear, road flares, flare gun, first aid kit, bungee cord, pepper
All right.
spray, sapling, snacks,
Let's-
tools, Zippo, and glow sticks.
I need to take 2 minutes
I
to feed
think
the
I have a very normal list by
and
comparison.
then we're gonna continue this shit.
Honestly, I didn't write up my list. I should.
I mean, not all hunters are prepared, and some of us are weird.
So, throwing it out there, she is prepared in case she can't pay for her medicines anymore.
I'm still skeptical that a fold-up silicone kettle is available in the 90s.
Then
Google
may-
it.
It's time to look at.
It's on.
if that's not, then it's probably made out of tin or stainless steel.
I'm just still thinking about the fish skin, honestly.
Yeah, that is.
The fact that it's also on the top of her goddamn list.
Yeah, it's literally the first item on
It's
my
not
list.
just a choice.
Because, like, I like herbalism. I recognize a lot of these things, and I see where you could come in with the fish
What
skin.
the
but,
fuck,
like,
man? Erika, you're wild.
I know.
Do you know how badly I'm tempted to
It's
add
fucking,
a fucking...
it's number 1 on her goddamn written list. It's
know
not
how-
like she added that at the bottom just to like fuck with you. No,
Yeah.
that's goddamn number 1, and this list goes on for a while, which means she wrote this a long time ago.
Do you know how badly I want to edit this with a fucking record scratch when you say that to mimic what went on inside my brain?
Please do. Just please do.
And just have an interlude of table talk.
Just that. I'm going to put the outtakes in the fucking middle.
Yeah, please.
I-
honestly, Rob,
I'll be honest,
please do.
I think
please
that-
do.
I think that
that would be
should-
fantastic.
Jesus Christ. All right.
these outtakes I would actually personally put in the episode.
Fucking A. All right. Let's get back into it. Hold on.
All right, so to be clear, chitinous bandages have ground up crab shell in
Sure.
them.
Sure. That's fine.
I have cod skin.
Okay.
I have tilapia skin.
Just to be clear.
Okay.
All right.
To alleviate any confusion,
We're going to get
They
back.
are they are
let me
stored
tell
in
you about the
plastic
chitin
bags.
that I
We're
carry
getting
around
back
with
into
me.
it. Hold on. No, we need a hard stop and a get back into it.
Okay.
Okay. This is the hard stop.
You're a hard stop.
My stop is so hard.
I,
I know.
Full stop.
boy.
Okay, you need to stop now because we're.
There was no pause between that's a hard stop, you're a hard stop, and good boy.
I'm trying to run a horror game here. So you pull out some cod skin?
No, I just have it on me.
Okay. It's sealed though, right?
It's all sealed. I don't know how good any of these creatures' senses are, but I do have like biological meat products on me.
The above the table answer to that is it depends on if they're in the water or not.
Okay.
But right now, they are walking away. They seem very much in their own world, like they're barely aware of the people around them as they are looking for whatever it is that they're looking for.
Do you want me to call you by your handle or do you want me to call you by your name?
Always by my handle.
Okay, Mav.
They're not going to notice that's weird.
I know.
So I think we're good to go.
Okay. No, I'm reeling from the Go Yanks. I'm a little upset that you went there, but desperate
important
times.
job.
It is. Greater good and all. All right, we trailing them?
Yeah, they're following a blood scent, so that's probably bad, and whoever's on the other end of it is probably wounded.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I say we follow them.
Okay.
The two of you said about following these two fucking weirdos?
Yeah.
I do bring my coffee, which I casually sip as we're following.
Of course.
But
I will accept either, and I want both of you to roll this, a stealth manipulation or a stealth dexterity, depending on what you think is your approach here. Whether you're just kind of trying to fade into the background or not, you can pick whichever one you want. Does not have to be the same between the both of you.
okay.
So go ahead and roll it.
So hypothetically, if one does not have stealth,
+1 difficulty.
I also have eccentric appearance.
I'm aware.
Okay. I don't remember if that gives me a detriment on stealth.
I believe that it makes it easier for people to remember you.
Okay.
So in the absence of just pulling up the player's handbook right now, I'm going to give you a +1, an additional +1 difficulty on your stealth.
Okay.
Erika, you are rolling your regular pool for whichever one you choose, but you are at a difficulty 8.
Okay.
The penalty might be 2, but we're going to go with 1 for right now. But which one are you using? Manipulation?
Manipulation.
Okay. What about you, Lex?
If that's the strategy we're going with, I'm actually just going to use the same one. It's one less die for me, but I think it would be weird if she's just kind of trying to be casual and I'm like hiding behind a telephone pole or some shit. So
Super fair. Now that you guys have both decided, I will just be a little above the table here. Because you have both decided on manipulation, they have to roll empathy to try and detect you.
I'm going to spend a willpower on this. 2 successes.
2 successes.
I'm going to roll their 2 dice total for their pool. 2 successes. In the lobby of Brayton Point Station, Nat, you are currently talking to a woman who at this point in time is maybe the most beautiful woman you've ever seen. And she seems charmingly interested in you.
Nat sets to work, making herself a coffee, but she looks back over her shoulder, shoots a grin, gets some eye contact. Actually, do you have a drink?
Well, I was just about to make myself a coffee. If you're offering to do it for me, I mean, how kind of you. I feel like I should be offering to make you a coffee.
Nah, let me take the opportunity. I always like to make a drink for a pretty woman.
Such a flatterer. It is almost hard to look away from her eyes to make the two of you coffee.
It's not flattery if it's true, is it?
Things can be 2 things.
Call me guilty, then.
Guilty. And she sort of washes and puts one of her extremely well manicured nails, kind of not quite picking at her teeth, but not quite just resting on her chin, drawing direct attention to her lips in a way that, again, is extremely hard to look away from.
Nat is actually not really fighting the urge to look at her. She is savoring looking at her. She is kind of drawing her eyes over her, not it's not disrespectful, it's appreciative. She's keeping it mostly to the face, and she is letting herself be directed. If this woman is kind of toying with her nails to draw attention to her lips, to her lipstick, Nat deliberately lets her eyes dip to this woman's lips.
As soon as your eyes go there, she loses all pretense of subtlety and stretches in such a way that directly draws attention to the curves of her body. So what brings you here today? I need you to roll me a willpower test. Or rather, I should say, I am allowing a willpower test. Roll your willpower total, your current willpower in dice.
Does my lustful flaw negatively impact this roll?
Oh, absolutely.
Cool. You can't resist the erotic advances of the appropriate genders. You are easily seduced and often exhibit very poor judgment when dealing with sexually attractive people. The difficulty of any attempts to seduce you is reduced by 2.
This counts.
Yeah.
So, realistically, that would have applied to her roll.
Uh-huh.
So, I will set this at difficulty 7 for you.
I have 6 successes.
Jesus.
I told you it was a good roll. Nat is catching on to the flirtation in her own way. And she kind of looks back at the coffee maker and looks back at this woman and says, "Now you're just making it difficult. I'm going to burn my hand."
Oh, I'm so sorry. I don't want you to get burned.
Look away.
I can't.
Well, this is going to make it difficult.
So to be clear, passing your willpower test means that you are still in control of narration and Nat's actions for this scene.
Am I aware that anything has occurred?
Not yet.
Okay.
It's just a hot lady talking to you.
Yep. Nothing seems different from my own will and authority in the situation.
Correct.
Nat is playfully going to cover one of her eyes. Like, not like fully like covering her face, but sort of in that like shield my eyes kind of way, and make the remaining coffee. Head over with these 2 cups.
When you look back with 2, you can swear 2 of the buttons on her shirt are less done than they were 5 seconds ago. But it's done in such a way where it's tough to remember whether or not she was just always dressed like that.
What's wrong with being grateful? Nat carefully, gently passes over the full coffee and takes the opportunity to drape one of her arms a little bit over the counter as she sets down some creamers, some extra sugars.
Hey, this might sound a little forward, but can I get your number?
That sounds perfect.
I'm a little embarrassed. Maybe your name, too.
I don't mind forward. Hang on, I think I have your name. And Nat kind of theatrically peers down to try to find her name tag, or sometimes there's that little sign atop of like the receptionist's desk.
Yep. Shears. Veronica Shears.
Which one? First name, last name?
You can call me Veronica, of course.
I like that. It's pretty.
And yours?
Nat.
Nat.
Well, you want to give actually pronouncing it a try?
Of course.
Niyati.
Niyati.
There you go. Most people don't get it right.
Do you have a last name, pretty?
Chowdhurani.
Niyati Chowdhurani. Did I get that right?
I think so, but honestly, my attention was slipping. She says her attention is slipping, and, it's one of those, like, cheeky grins, but she's, again, not taking it overly sexually. There's the temptation of the unbuttoned shirt, but she's trying to keep it face to face.
Being this close to her, the scent of her, it is literally impossible to take it any other way than to think about it sexually. And at this point, you are allowed, if you wish, to make a reflexive conviction roll.
I'd like that, because I think that's starting to get a little bit suspicious. Look, Nat's flirtatious, she's a little bit of a fuckboy, but...
Which we love for her.
Not to the extent where, like, a first meeting is entirely about sex.
Please roll me a perception plus your primary virtue, which for you is mercy.
Would I be allowed to spend a willpower on this?
You may not spend willpower on virtue or conviction-related things. This is purely your connection to the messengers that is reacting.
Got it.
The difficulty that you are looking for is 6.
2 successes?
With 2 successes, I want you to spend a point of conviction. As that happens, this close to her, your senses were almost being blocked out to anything but this woman. It was an extremely pleasant feeling. And something inside of you instinctively reacts and screams danger. You activate your second sight reflexively without even meaning to do it. And instantly, that sense of rationale returns, that sense of calm dissipates. While this is still maybe one of the most attractive women you have ever seen in your life, your faculties are returned to you, and you see that she is inhuman. And she looks at you and goes, "Well, I'm so glad that you came in today, Niyati Chowdhurani." And she slips your name and phone number into a little book in her desk and closes the drawer.
What are the details of the little book? Is it like unmarked? Is it like a little like phone book?
It looks like a little address book or notepad, and she has written your name and phone number in it and put it in her desk drawer. She, as has happened to you a couple times in the past, does not seem aware that her influence is no longer being felt in the same way. She might not even be aware she's doing it. Is there maybe something else we could do to pass the time while you wait for Mr. McCoppin?
Well, I mean, it's kind of boring, but I am a little curious about this place. Theoretically, it might be somewhere I would look into. Now, to be clear, while I'm doing this, Rob, I do have honest to a fault.
Mm-hmm.
So she is trying her best to tell the truth in this statement, but she is has that limitation. Not limitation, but you know what I mean.
You're bad at lying.
Yep.
Yeah.
This could be a place that would be good for me to look into once I'm done with school.
Oh, and what is it you do for a living?
Oh, well, not that far yet. I'm just studying.
Studying what?
Do you happen to do any, deep sea scanning?
It's funny you should mention that. I believe that is part of the project that Mr. McCoppin is interviewing for right now. We've recently hired on a consultant for underwater drilling projects.
Which consultant?
Came very highly rated maritime expert by the name of Klieg.
With my academics, does that name mean anything to me?
It does not. I'm not gonna even pretend.
Got it. See, I'm a little embarrassed. I don't recognize the name.
Oh, he's expensive, but he is, in theory, the best of the best. He's actually the project leader of a deep water research site down in the Pacific Ocean. It's really exciting work, at least as I understand it. I don't really understand everything that they're talking about. And as that happens, your phone rings in your pocket.
Oh, you know what? I'm so sorry, but I do think I need to take this.
Oh, of course.
And as if doing the natural wander-off thing that people do with their phones, I am going to put some distance between her and me. Not enough distance that I don't have eyes on what she's doing, but ideally out of speaking range, not just for humans, but I'm wandering over to look out that window. I'm quite a bit away.
Having been in this space long enough and the way that it echoes, it's almost like it was designed in such a way where there isn't quite privacy with the acoustics unless you step outside.
Which one is more in the path of someone like Dallas who'd be looking for me in case of emergency, outside or the bathroom?
I mean, probably right outside so people could see you.
Right outside it is, then.
So you step outside.
Yeah.
Answer the phone.
Yeah.
Stay the fuck where you are, or I'm gonna blow your goddamn head off. I don't give a shit. Pick up. Hello?
Hello?
Is this Nat?
And this is Mateo?
You said if I needed help, I could call, right?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Where are you right now? Are you... Fuck. Did not consider you don't live near here.
I'm at the, power station at Mount Hope Bay. Somerset?
Is that Massachusetts?
Yeah.
I'm in Massachusetts.
Alright, good.
I'm not really sure what to fucking do right now, and I don't know very many people around here. Shut up! Don't fucking move unless you want a face full of silver, you piece of shit!
Do you want to update me on what seems like a hostage situation over there?
Well, I'm not the hostage right now, so... The fuck I'm not!
You hear some commotion, big movement in the background.
I'm in a warehouse near what is that, Narragansett Bay, I think? Where is this?
And you hear a throaty chuckle in the background.
Fuck. I don't know, is there a way to fucking... if I step outside, this motherfucker's gonna move. I don't know. Okay, I mean like a warehouse, there's water, I can smell it. There's a lot of fish around here. Does that help?
And do you have someone at gunpoint?
Yeah.
What is the deal with the someone at gunpoint?
He tried to fucking kill me.
Sure, is he one of the other people like you?
Yeah, that's kind of fucking part of the problem. Him and I have been talking, haven't we, motherfucker?
And what is the help that you're seeking?
I don't know what to do now. I don't want to fucking kill this guy, because I'm trying not to be that guy.
Appreciate
but
it.
If I lower this fucking gun, he's going to try and get up and kill me. I've got him... We've been fighting a little bit, but I'm more prepared than you thought I was. Stupid fucking asshole.
Well, glad that you're remaining calm.
Oh, I'm really fucking calm.
So it sounds like you would benefit from someone coming out to help you?
I was hoping you might be in the area. I can hold him here for a little bit, but I don't know when someone's gonna fucking come by. It's just not like this is a much used area.
Are you safe? Do you have a way to back out of that situation?
I don't fucking know. I have no idea. And
You hear that wet chuckle in the back again, and just this deep rumbling voice that just goes,
they're going to find me. You can't stay here forever between her.
Mateo goes,
Shut the fuck up! I don't know how much time I've got.
Okay. I'm gonna check with some people. I'm either gonna come or I'm gonna send friends.
Great. You said you were like, you said sometimes you're like kind of in the right place at the right time, and I'm kind of hoping you're nearby.
I'm hoping that too. Specific location? Anything?
It's a fucking warehouse. I saw the name, I saw the name Hallahan. I don't know if that means anything.
You see any other markers?
Yeah, the number 84.
On what?
On the building.
Okay, Hallahan 84. Anything like a street name?
I wasn't really paying attention to the streets. I was being chased.
I understand. Alright. I'm gonna hang up. Do I have a way to call you back?
Yeah, this is a burner.
Okay. Number is on my phone.
Yeah, it's, I called you.
Yeah. Alright. Call you back as soon as possible.
Uh-huh.
And she hangs up, and she strides out to where John is. She knocks on the window if it's not open.
No, he's definitely open and looking out, and also kind of keeping an eye in the building where Dallas is doing stuff. What's going on?
Well, a couple updates real quick. First of all, the lady in the front is not a human being.
Okay.
Don't know if that's a problem, but she is also really hot, which is, in my opinion, not a problem. But there's something about her that's tempting, and I definitely gave her my full name. So,
That happens.
yeah, it happens. I'm not gonna say I'm proud of it, but I'm also not gonna say I'm ashamed. Fair warning's there. Second thing, more important for the moment, the person that I'd contacted, the one who I was saying was a shark shifter.
Yep, I recall. What's going on?
He has some emergency scenario where apparently one of the people like him is trying to kill him, and he's in a warehouse. Something like Hallahan 84 near the beach. Lots of fish.
We just did a bunch of research, and Hallahan came up in that as the fishery that is actually doing well in the area.
yeah, it is one of the major fishing conglomerates that seems to be buying up a lot of the independent fishermen.
He's got someone or something at gunpoint, and it is volatile, and he needs help, and he's connected to this somehow.
So you want to go get in between two different shifters?
Someone needs to, but someone needs to be here for Dallas too.
Between two different shifters?
Huh? I mean, doesn't sound like fun to you?
No. I want to
that
be
kinda
nowhere in the
grins.
near vicinity of that.
So, is that you saying that you want to trade off and go flirt with the lady who's going to try to trick you into giving her your personal information?
I'm
Or-
assuming that means you're taking off somehow.
It's either that or I call the others and they take it.
Well, we have one car here, which is my truck.
So it sounds like we're calling them first.
Yeah, get them on, because we're going to need this car just in case anything goes sideways.
And that immediately rings up Todd.
Dallas, you are sitting, having a cigarette in this large conference room area with this really big oak table and the portraits on the wall. Sitting across from you is the man with the slick back hair, the blue eyes that you, because of your discerning eye, know are contact lenses, and a button-up suit, who has introduced himself to you as Mr. Klieg. So, Mr. McCoppin, or do you prefer Dallas?
You can call me Dallas.
I heard that you were part of the unfortunate incident out at the site formerly known as Texas Tower 2, now part of the expansion of the Atlantic version of Project Deepwater, and that you are an underwater diver, an underwater welder of some talent, and that you had expressed an interest after those unfortunate events of filling one of our much-needed saturation diving slots.
Mr. Klieg, you're well informed.
I make it my business to be.
I mean, I'll be honest, it was hard hearing about the loss of some of my friends on the site.
A tragic, tragic accident.
Indeed, but we all were out there to make money, and I understand that being part of the saturation team can make me money, so...
It's a difficult job, but it is a very lucrative job to make up for those difficulties, certainly.
And I have the demeanor to endure the hardship that comes along with that, and I'm willing to be your guy.
Perfect. I'm so glad to hear it. And as he says that, the door sort of slings open, and this like really heavy-set, balding guy in an ill-fitting suit waddles in and plops himself down at the head of the table. And he is shooting daggers at Klieg, looking at him with raw hate. You have discern up. This is just a human being. This is just a deeply unpleasant human being. Like, you can see sort of like where he's been sweating, some of like the grease lines from bad hair dye trickling down his in sweat rivers. And
Rob, I will say though,
yes,
Dallas is well aware that he is kind of putting himself into the lion's den, so to speak. And this kind of break between the interaction between him and Klieg gives him a moment to kind of like reassess things.
Absolutely.
And I will spend a point of conviction to also put my sight up. So I have both discern and sight.
And protection.
Yes.
So unlike before, when your sight goes up, it still gives you that deep sense of like sickening wrong coming from Klieg.
Also, at the start of this campaign, I was patron 0.
Yes.
I have slowly been buying up patron. I am now currently patron 2.
Okay. Good to know. I will keep that in mind.
Yeah.
As the sight activates, you don't get that same sense of like clearing the cobwebs from your mind that you did before. It's like Klieg wasn't impacting your mind directly yet, or so much as you can tell. But Klieg is definitely inhuman, and with your patron rating and with everything else going on, you get this sense of, even if he is not ancient, there is something about him connected to something older and more terrible than you could possibly imagine. Like he is one arm of a vast beast rising from the deep.
That same feeling of unease when the tactical team came out from the diving bell has the same taste as this guy right here.
It has the same taste, but
brine in the back of my throat.
It's the same taste, but distilled. Like it's a purer essence of whatever this thing is. He is just smiling pleasantly. Well, it's like he's trying to smile pleasantly, but can't quite pull it off under your discerning eye, under the sight. That pleasantness sharpens under the gaze of discern into something predatory and arrogant as he looks at this guy who just came in all surly and huffy. He looks at you and he sits down with a folder and slaps it on the table. Now, Mr. McCoppin, now, I understand that while Mr. Klieg is a consulting dive specialist, an underwater drilling specialist brought in from the higher-ups, you would still be contracted under Endron and the Prayton Point Station. So this will be a direct job for us, not through Safe Haven. Do you understand that? I just want to make sure that your current contracts don't conflict with whatever is being asked of you by Mr. Klieg. And he just looks over, and Klieg cocks an eyebrow at you, like, hey, are you okay with that? Taking like a full-time gig rather than a consulting gig?
Dallas kind of pauses for a moment and looks back and forth between Klieg and, I'm sorry, what's Jowl's name?
President Saunders.
So he looks back and forth between Klieg and Saunders and kind of takes in the power dynamic there for a second. And kind of just shifts his whole body towards Klieg, kind of putting an elbow up with a cigarette in between him and Saunders to just kind of cut him off.
Saunders is immediately aware of that kind of body language. A man whose highest skill on his sheet is politics, just angrily looks at you as this happens.
Mr. Klieg, it seems like you have some profitable opportunities for me. I'm very interested to hear more about that.
Absolutely. Well, if you have any questions for me about the work that you'll be doing, now's the time. I'm a very busy man. I'm obviously not going to be at our Atlantic Project Deepwater site.
No, sir. I have no questions for you as long as it is a opportunity that will benefit me for whatever your consulting work does.
Absolutely.
I'm your man.
To be clear, I am somewhat of an intermediary here. He looks over at Saunders, who just, is seething but can say nothing. Project Deepwater is a very successful coalition between Endron and an organization known as the Earth Frontier Division, sort of a scientific exploration, which, as you are aware from your previous work out at the Texas Tower 2 site, is what we are attempting to do. We have a very successful Pacific site. We have a few satellite sites down in the Caribbean, but the Atlantic is a place where we haven't done as much discovery. And it is a joint venture, of course, so Endron is very interested in the... Saunders goes, "In the oil deposits." Klieg sort of humors him and waves a gloved hand. He's like, yes, of course. Oh, we have an extensive underwater research facility. It's interesting. The Gulf of Maine is a really fascinating area of the northeastern United States and the Atlantic. Now, obviously, you are aware that the site is built out on Georgia's basin, but we're finding, and there's like a weird, you have discern up, there's a weird trill. You have discern and the site up.
Yes.
There is a weird trill of excitement that does not show at all in Klieg's physical form, but it's almost like you detect a ripple of excitement or eagerness from whatever it is that he is connected to, as translated through the messengers to you, when he says, "We're finding that it's much deeper than first thought. And that is why, of course, we require saturation divers. Now, you'll have to live down there for 3 weeks at a time, but you will get 2 weeks off, and the money is substantial." And he gestures very much in an I am in control here way towards Saunders, who, even under his jowls, you can see his jaw tense, and he slides a piece of paper over to you, and on it is written a salary number that is more than you would make in 5 years. And of course, there's a signing bonus. We would need you to start Monday. Work is important. I certainly hope that isn't a problem.
What was the division that he talked about real quick?
Earth Frontier Division. Basically, this thing, whatever he's doing, Project Deepwater, is a joint venture between Endron and this scientific research team, is what he implied.
What day is it today?
I think today's Thursday.
So Monday is when he wants me to start.
Yes. Okay. That a few days from now is when he would be like, all right, get on the boat, and you're going to live out there for a month.
Right. Dallas locks eyes with Klieg. This all sounds fantastic. I'm excited to attach myself to some very successful ventures like what you're talking about. If you can get me all of the information I need so I can be properly prepared, obviously a month between working down below and decompression afterwards. I just want to make sure I have all of the materials and tools I need.
Everything will be provided. You don't need to bring a thing.
Excellent. Even still, if I could get all of the information in writing, because this is quite an opportunity, sir.
Of course. And he literally snaps his fingers at Saunders, who looks like he's about to have a stroke with rage. Mm-hmm. And he pushes a manila folder across to you. There's your contract right there.
Outstanding.
All the information is present.
And we'll be heading out to the former Texas Tower 2 site?
It's the same site you have been working on. You'll just be going beneath.
Deeper.
Of course.
Excellent.
In case you're wondering, you don't have to worry. In fact, I have helped develop a proprietary trimix so that when you are down there, you don't have to worry. I know some men are worried that when breathing trimix, their voice gets high and they're worried about their masculinity. I've helped develop a proprietary trimix just for this project so that it won't impact your voice at all. Now, Garrett, you would be aware, trimix is the special air that saturation divers breathe. It is a mixture of oxygen, nitrogen, and helium. Helium is what makes their voices go high, but it is the required stuff to be able to breathe and not die from nitrogen sickness and stuff while you are down that deep underwater. But he is saying he has developed some form of proprietary trimix for his projects that allows you to speak normally. Garrett, if you wish, you may roll law intelligence to look over this contract.
Oh, I'd love to. I mean, I only have a 3-die pool for this.
This is based on the difficulty of the complexity of this contract. So you were looking at diff 8.
I will spend a point of willpower on looking over this to try and make sure I can find anything incriminating here.
Here's what I'm going to say, and this is a very weird interaction. Because second sight is up, you are allowed to spend a willpower on this.
2 successes.
2 successes.
Is that with the willpower?
That is with the willpower.
It's a pretty complicated thing. It goes real deep into it. But you were doing contract work for a while now, through Safe Haven and through all of that. It's pretty standard contract. The big parts that stick out are the company is not responsible for your injury, maiming, or death. That you waive all liability for that, and that your pay is contingent on your performance, and that if you do not perform at a certain expected level, that you can be demoted to experiment status.
Mr. Klieg, everything looks good in this contract. I'm not familiar with the terminology here. What is experiment status?
Pretty simple. Sort of expected for saturation diving. Now, it is a very dangerous line of work, and we have on occasion lost divers, as you yourself are aware. Now, the company finds a certain value in being able to legally look into the status of lost divers without the expectation of retrieval. Does that make sense? It's sort of like becoming an organ donor, but for what happens to divers. Hopefully so that we can prevent such tragedies in the future. You understand?
Now, it says demoted. Does that mean that there is a decrease in the pay in that status?
Well, at that status, you would be no longer employed, functionally.
Well, I understand, but even posthumously, I would imagine that there'd be some kind of...
If the company was found to be totally at fault for your death, then there would be a disbursement to your surviving kin. That is true. If you were found to be responsible for your death, obviously such disbursement would not be available to your next of kin.
Well, it seems to me that the demotion here is related to my ability down below. Now, I'm not really worried about that, but I just want to make sure that that demotion still is going to be, and a experimental status is still going to be profitable to myself or, God forbid, my next of kin.
If it makes you feel better, I'll tell you this. I have yet to have to demote anyone in my projects. And he looks over at Saunders, and Saunders just like crosses his arms.
That makes me feel a great deal better, actually.
He pulls out from his breast pocket a fountain pen and passes it to you.
Dallas takes a close look at the pen.
It appears to be a very expensive fountain pen. But as you're looking around, focusing on sort of the objects in the room, the messengers, because you have all these things up right now, including your patron rating, point two things out to you. One, there's a pitcher of water on the table, and you get an overwhelming sense of danger when you look at that water. Like, do not drink that. And number two, you're looking around. You see that portrait of Jeremiah Lassiter, the founder of Premium Oil? And with the CERN up, you notice a weird, almost similarity in some of the features between Klieg and Lassiter. And as you're looking at the portrait for just a moment, it is superimposed by the sight of Clade, one of the previous saturation divers, just saying, as if in your imbuing, they're calling me home, and the sound of water and impact. And you're back in the moment. Saunders, this sweating mess, just reaches across and pours himself a glass of water.
Dallas kind of takes a good look at Saunders as he's drinking this water down.
Yep, starts to drink it back.
Does he seem wrong to me, or does he seem almost like a victim here?
Roll me an empathy, honestly. Perception empathy.
Dallas actually doesn't have any empathy.
Come on, Judge, do it.
But I have a 4 perception. Talents with no skill in them. Or no points in a talent.
No
No
penalty,
penalty, right?
no penalty.
Okay, perfect.
What's your spec?
I am exacting, though.
Yeah.
I would accept it exacting.
3 successes.
3 successes on 4 dice, not bad. Saunders doesn't seem like a monster or a victim. He seems like a piece of shit who has no problems with anything his company might be doing. You've been talking for a while about how you think Endron is evil, and it fucking is. And Saunders either doesn't know or doesn't care. More likely the latter. But he is just human.
Prey might be a better word than victim.
Someone who thinks he's a big fish in a small pond and does not understand how vast the ocean is. I need one more roll for you. I need a manipulation subterfuge, as Klieg is watching you throughout this interaction. Whether or not you're lying directly, you are keeping some big stuff off the table.
I'll spend another point of willpower on this.
Absolutely. This roll is contested. But he has no reason to do so, so he's not going to spend a willpower.
Being that I am just kind of flagrantly being insubordinate to Saunders and smoking a cigarette.
I'll give you -1 diff on this. Hide in plain sight, Hunter.
Would you accept either expression or intimidation for that?
I would not.
Okay. So we're going to do subterfuge?
Subterfuge, but
manipulation.
You can be subterfuge manipulation, but you may be at -1 diff.
Okay, perfect.
For your circumstances here. You have not yet caught his suspicion.
Okay, cool.
That's kind of what this is.
2 successes.
He rolled 4 successes and had 3 ones, so he gets 1 success.
Woo! All right.
The one thing you will pick up on, maybe he's missing some of this because he's watching Saunders drink that water. You notice not a sense of satisfaction when Saunders drinks the water, but a very calculated keeping a sense of satisfaction off his face. Well then, Mr. McCoppin, if you sign the paperwork, we will see you bright and early Monday morning. And of course, I did mention a signing bonus. And he snaps at Saunders again, who pulls a white envelope out of his pocket, slaps it on the table in front of him, not quite in your arm's reach.
Dallas grabs the expensive fountain pen out of Klieg's hand, signs the paperwork, pushes it back over, stands up and offers a handshake to Mr. Klieg.
Klieg reaches out and shakes your hand. As you do, you feel little bumps underneath the gloves of the handshake, like along his fingers.
As if they're like tentacles.
As if there's little suckers or something along. Little teeth. Welcome aboard.
Thank you, Mr. Klieg. I knew I was attaching myself to something successful and on the rise when I started working with Endron. But now I feel like I've come home.
You certainly have, Mr. McCoppin. Welcome home.
I'll see you Monday.
Bright and early. Don't make us come find you.
He reaches out for the bonus check.
It is cash. That is $1,000 in cash.
Dallas tries not to make any kind of expression at that, just puts it in his pocket. Should I grab any paperwork from the front desk?
Where are you staying? We can have it mailed to you. Shipped express.
That's all right. I'm, all the divers stay in kind of, seasonal housing.
Of course.
I don't necessarily trust, my neighbors.
You have no mailing address, no ties to your neighbors.
Well, I do. I don't trust them, with mail coming in, if you understand.
Understood. Not that close. Well, see Andrew on the way out.
Andrew, absolutely. Thank you.
And he gets up and opens the door for you.
Dallas heads on out.
And as soon as you step through the door, he closes the door, so it's just him and Saunders in there.
Dallas will pause for a moment on the other side of the door and just kind of like perk his ear to hear if he hears anything.
Your attitude means very little to me, Saunders. But I need you to remember that you are not in charge of Project Deepwater. I am. This comes directly from the board of directors and my contacts on the board of directors. We are working hand in hand with the Earth Frontier Division, or so they think, and you can sit down and be quiet as I expand into the Atlantic and reap the profits, or you can throw a hissy fit and be thrown aside. Do not forget me.
And Saunders doesn't say anything. Saunders, for all his bluster, does not respond when Klieg turns his gaze on him.
Dallas will continue down and try to find Andrew down at the front.
Yeah, on the way there, you're noticing, and you have the sight up now, and you have discern up now. So as you're walking through the office, like 70% of these people are just normal. They are just human. Every once in a while, you get that sense of wrongness, of sickness, of someone special that walks by. You see someone walk by, and you notice they have a gun on them. And then you look around, it doesn't seem that uncommon around here, just to open carry. You walk past a few people who are definitely not human, and then occasionally you see, because of everything that you have, some people whose peoples aren't quite wrong yet, but are becoming wrong. A few people who seem to be walking around and have like weird lumps between their shoulder blades under their suit jackets. Most people in here are just human beings trying to go to work and do their jobs. But there seems to be a few who aren't, and some sort of slow and methodical hostile takeover of whatever is going on in this particular building. And Andrew, who is human, goes, Mr. McCoppin, yes, they said that I just got phoned over. You needed your paperwork for, just your health insurance and all that kind of stuff. Congratulations on becoming an Endron employee. Very excited that you're working with us, and health benefits are pretty good. We have an on-site doctor, totally free.
Excellent.
And he just hands you like a manila folder that has a bunch of stuff and goes, make sure that copy gets back to us, and Just the clause on the top, by the way, that says if you're going to have a lawyer review it, you have to tell us first.
Where did he pull that file out of?
It seems like he has a bunch of them on his desk. It seems like it's a pretty standard form that he just like, in the few minutes it took you to walk over here, he put together and like
Gotcha.
got ready for you.
Using discern, is there anything, any kind of like information on the desk that looks valuable or...
Roll me an investigation, perception investigation. Because discern is not going to show you anything on this one. There's nothing supernatural about what's going on in Andrew's desk.
Right, but discern also is like just like helps me see things,
see in the dark,
see
and
actual
see
details that would not necessarily pop out.
Yeah, so roll me an investigation.
Exacting would help here?
I mean, yeah.
That's a wash, unfortunately.
Nothing. It's just like a bunch of really fucking boring office job paperwork shit. You know, there's like there's like a spreadsheet up on his computer. It's this old like fucking Sun Systems monitor that like, you know, when like old CRTs are like a little too old, so they start to go a little green on the display, and some spreadsheets for something that's going up, some numbers and figures and whatever. But Andrew's just a fucking...
And do you have all of the times and clearances for getting the ride back out to the tower location?
Oh, yes. Hold on. That should be there, but I'll write it out for you. And he gives you a time, and it's off. There's a few different ones. There's
disembarkation,
but there's like a
that.
disembarkation information. And you need to be on the boat at 5 a.m. on
Embarkation,
Monday.
disembarkation.
Yep. And your departure time is 5 a.m.
Okay. Smiles at Andrew, and we'll start to head out the building. Path of Night, Brine and Blood is an actual play Hunter the Reckoning podcast set in the world of darkness. Dallas McCoppin was played by Garrett Gabbey. John Spencer was played by Tim Davis. Pheia Quinn was played by Erika Webb. Nat Chowdhurani was played by Rebecca Steigelfest. Todd Keating was played by Lex Lopez. Your storyteller was Rob Muirhead. This episode edited by Rob Muirhead. The theme music used in this episode was Sadness Room by Denis Goncharov. Find their music online at pixabay.com. Character art by Jay Steele. Find more of their work at Steele Art on Bluesky. Brine and Blood uses the revised edition of Hunter the Reckoning with a few limited house rules. Hunter the Reckoning and the World of Darkness are owned by Paradox Interactive. Make sure to subscribe to us on Spotify, Apple Podcast, or wherever you find your podcasts. You can find us on YouTube at youtube.com/pathofnight. You can help support the show at ko-fi.com/pathofnight. And you can find us at Path of Night Podcast on Bluesky, Twitter, and Facebook. Or email us at pathofnightpodcast@gmail.com. Take back the night, hunters. An interlude from the Rokia game. We're blending in.
It's literally what's happening.
Real good, yeah?
I never guessed.
By the way, guys, make notes of which one you might want to play if we do a one-shot.
7 foot tall guy.
You kids want to make out somewhere?
It's not even really a change. You kids want to fuck?
I heard you want to go to Alley.
I will